For going over the agenda and the roles. And do we have any club business? Does anyone have any club business to share? Was Greta on last week? Greta, did she come last week? Maurice, do y'all remember?
Who?
Was Greta.
Yeah, she was on last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know when I spoke to her via email, she said she was going to just continue as a guest right now because she wants to do just a little bit more browsing around and checking out the other clubs. So we're going to keep her as a guest right now, and we hopefully are going to keep her encouraged. Hopefully she'll be joining us. I was going to do my speech on mentorship last week because I want to encourage us all to get into mentorship. As you help someone else, a lot of times you end up helping yourself. Wes, I see you have your hand raised. Did you have anything?
Yeah, so I was just wondering, first off, I'm on my Android right now.
And you look wonderful.
And it has a tendency to freeze up on me, and I don't always hear what's going on. So that's why that's why I didn't see. Okay, that's why I elected not to participate. But I was just wondering, Marie says, has there been any new membership requests?
Not lately, but the person that you see on Zoom, she was one of the last ones who had inquired about the Toastmasters Club, and she's on, Miss Peggy.
Okay.
Hi, Miss Peggy.
Well,
hi, good evening, everyone that did not hear me or see me last week. So I do have a testimony when you guys have a break in the meeting.
Okay, sure.
I disappeared last week, so I want to explain what actually happened. So when you
Wow.
have time on your agenda, let me know and I'll share that with the group.
We will definitely make time. Right before we do Miss Crystal's speech, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if we let you come in and you can give us a 2 or 3 minute talk about your testimony. We always love to hear good news. So Miss Crystal, if that's okay with you. Okay. All right. So Miss Peggy, our Carrie is our Toastmaster for this evening, and she will call you up to the lectern when we finish going over the agendas.
Great. Thanks.
Wes, was that all for you?
that was it.
Okay, very good. If we don't have any further club business, I will turn the lectern over to Carrie, which is our Toastmaster for this evening. If you would, please welcome her to the lectern.
Okay, did we do the pledge?
Oh my goodness. Well, shouldn't we bring her up and she calls the pledge? I know, want to do the pledge first? I thought we bring up the Toastmaster and then she calls for the pledge. Okay, maybe not. Am I crazy, Maurice?
Either way.
I thought it was the Toastmaster that called up for the invocation and pledge. Okay. Crap, I thought I had a few seconds to get my, oh, yes. So my invocation for today is never grow weary in doing good works, for at the appointed time, you will reap the harvest. Never grow weary in doing good works. At the appointed time, you will reap the harvest. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, I just muted myself. Now I will turn the lectern over to Carrie, our Toastmaster for the evening.
Bow to myself first. Good evening, everyone. How are you tonight? I am your Toastmaster tonight. Let me explain what we have about this meeting. We have 3 sections to this meeting. First section is prepared speech. We have 2 speakers tonight, which is wonderful. Second part of this meeting is table topic. This is the exciting part of this meeting. We all have a chance to talk. We all have a chance to speak or make a short speech. Last portion of this meeting is evaluation. So let's start. I'm going to ask each person who's following one of the following the roles to explain your role. Please explain your role. First timer, I believe Olivia, please. Olivia,
All right. Good evening. I will be your timer for this meeting. And the role of the timer is to record the time for prepared speeches, table topic speeches, and evaluation. Tonight, I will be using 3 items to determine your color. So for our speech, 5 to 7 minute speech, at 6 minutes, you will see this. Green, am I showing it? No, I need to go to that's the wrong camera. Okay, that will be your green for your, did my computer just freeze up? Am I there? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, your
My
video.
picture is frozen. Let me turn it off and turn it back on. Crap. Okay, and then I will have a yellow symbol to indicate that you have 30 seconds left. And then at the end of your speech time, which in the case of a 5 to 7 minute speech, I will have a red indicator saying that your time is up. This is not something to chastise you for not being within your allotted time frame. It's just to give you a reminder and kind of help keep you on track. So at the end, when we do our evaluation portion of the meeting, I will give my timer's report. Back to you, Carrie.
thank you, Olivia. Next, counter and grammarian tonight. Davey, please.
Good evening, everyone. I will be your all counter and your grammarian tonight. As all counter, I will be looking for filler words because in today's society, people tend to use filler words such as or ah or you know what I'm talking about? See, I just did it there. But people tend to use filler words way too much. So we try to keep a track of that. Once again, as Olivia said, with timing, it's not to chastise people, it's just to let you know and be aware of it. So I'll be doing that. In addition to that, I'll also be your grammarian. And the word of the day, well, as grammarian, I'll be looking for misuse of the English language. And we're not super strict on that, but if anything stands out, I'll certainly make note of that. And the word of the day, which I will also be keeping up with, and it'd be great if you could say that a few times. The word of the day is platitude. I put that in chat, and you can see the definition is a remark or statement, especially one with a moral content that has been used too often to be interesting or thoughtful. The example that the dictionary gave was, he masks his disdain for her platitudes about how she should believe in herself more. One that comes to my mind is, I always hear people say, it is what it is.
Oh.
And when I hear that, if you hear a phrase that it's not necessarily a bad phrase, but you hear it so often that you just want to slap the person, that's a platitude. Okay, that's my roles for this evening. Thank you, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. It was great explanation of the word of the day, platitude. Next, general evaluator with Maurice, please.
Okay, yes, thank you, Carrie. As general evaluator, I'll give a general evaluation of the meeting as a whole. And I'll call to the lectern the different evaluators, including the speech evaluator, timer, grammarian, and all counter, to give their reports. Back to you.
Thank you, Maurice. Tonight's table topic master, Crystal.
Good evening, everyone. I will be your topics master for this meeting. I am very excited to share with you these fun books I have. You have the If book on my Left, your right, it's the black book. And then you have the red. You have a choice to decide which book you want to choose. Then give me a number. When you give me that number, I will flip to the page and choose one of the questions from that page. And I might have to pause for a second because some of these questions are a little interesting and may not be appropriate for this meeting. However, they will be fun questions that will test how you think on your feet. Once you have the question asked, you have 1 to 2 minutes to complete or answer that question. Try to get to that 2-minute mark. You can do it. I look forward to sharing you the if questions. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Crystal. Sounds very exciting and also a little scary to me. Nervous if question. Again, thank you so much. So let's start the first portion of this meeting. Prepared speech. Again, we have 2 prepared speakers tonight. Really exciting too. First speaker, Miss Peggy White. She's been a part of the Toastmaster since 2004, I believe you said, right? And I really appreciate all your hard work.
2004.
2004. Wow, that's great. You make me feel like I joined this Toastmaster in 2019. You make me feel like I'm still Toastmaster baby. And I really appreciate all your hard work. And then you told me that you serve as an officer, some of sort of really high level of officer.
All right, just very briefly, I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. I am president of my club, and I'm looking at having dual membership because I live in Chicago as well, and also in Chickasaw. So I was looking to get involved with the club here in Alabama because I enjoy being a Toastmaster. I've served as area director, as club coach, as president, and also as trainer. So I've done a lot since 2004, and I just really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the meeting last week, and then I'll give my testimony when you're ready for me to begin.
Thank you so much, Ms. Peggy White. I'm really excited to hear about the testimonial for this club meeting. So let's start, please. Peggy White.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I was really excited to be for the first time, and something really unusual happened. I began not to feel well, so I couldn't figure out what was going on because I had been having problems with acid reflux. I had just visited the doctor that morning and everything seemed to be okay. She prescribed some medication. But anyway, I started having chills and was really feeling bad. So I walked away from the meeting and I was not able to come back. I had to call the paramedics, 911, and found out that I was having a mild heart attack. So I was rushed to the emergency room, put in ICU. They ended up putting a stent in. And as you can see, I'm back feeling quite well, but it was a scary moment. And I left the meeting so quickly. I prayed, I called every prayer, every spiritual name I could think of while I was laying on the table, and they were working on me. But I was so happy that I was there in the nick of time because the paramedics had said to me, oh, you know, you're okay. You're just gonna go to the hospital and they're gonna give you some Prilosec and have you to come back home. I said, no, I have to go to emergency. I insisted that they would take me to emergency, which they did. And I'm glad I did because my blood pressure was 168 while I was in the ambulance. They were taking me to the hospital. And then they also said, well, you know, our hospitals are so crowded. What hospital do you want to go to? And I said, Providence, because I just seen the doctor that morning at the hospital. So they did take me to the hospital. Once I got there, they could tell I was in distress, took me right away, began to, you know, do the procedure. And I was in ICU for 2 days and I'm feeling great, as you can see. So I won't say on the meeting, but I just wanted to get in to let you all know what happened because all of a sudden I just left. I couldn't get back to the computer. So Maurice, if you wonder what had happened, and David, for those of you that were there last week, that's exactly what happened. I'm just thanking God that I'm alive to be able to tell the story and do the testimony today.
Amen, amen. Yeah, I had a similar incident happened about 3 weeks ago. I also have a Zoom Sabbath school class, which is like a Bible class. And one of our members on the meeting, she stays on mute all the time unless she's speaking. And she went on mute and then the meeting ended. and we never heard anything else from her. And she had a stroke
Oh, wow.
while on the meeting, and she came back the following week and she was fine, looks just as healthy as you do now. And but it's just amazing. God is good.
Yes,
And
and look,
for you.
there must be something with this Hilltoppers Club, huh? You guys have some healing properties. So thanks so much.
Hey,
And I will be joining you on next week, but I just don't want to prolong it because I really need to rest. But I just
amen.
needed to say that because Maurice, I heard him kept calling. He was calling for me. I could not get back to the computer. So nice
My
meeting
goodness.
you. And I'm, looking at clubs, trying to see how I wish to do this because I am going back and forth from Chicago to Alabama. So, I'll see how this works out. I love the Zoom. The Zoom works perfect for me. Do you guys plan to meet in person again, or is this going to be something you think you may do for a moment?
We have talked about hybrid meetings over and over, almost until we're blue in the face. We started this spring and talked about it more in the summer, and we tried quite a few different options, and none have come into fruition just yet. So I know for a fact, even if we do begin the hybrid meetings, this Zoom will still take place until further notice.
That's great to know too, because I also know, as I'm sure you guys know too, I can have dual membership. So I'm just looking at the possibilities because I would like to become involved with a Toastmaster club here in Alabama. Plus, I don't know a lot of people here, so I thought it would give me an opportunity to meet some new friends and
Absolutely.
you guys could tell me what's so exciting about living in Alabama. So I'll look forward to joining you next Monday as well. So thank you guys for giving me an opportunity to speak, and I'll see you next week.
Take care, and thanks for stopping by.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good to see you, Miss White. We're very glad you're okay. That's an amazing story.
Yes, thank you. I said, well, should I tell them? Yeah, might as well let them know. So yeah, it is, to me, it's a great testimony. So I do thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the rest of your meeting this evening.
Thank you so much. And thanks for sharing. We'll see you next Monday.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, good night.
Good night. Thank you so much, Miss White. Appreciate it. It's much more than I expected, and I'm so glad you're okay. It's good to see. I'll let you go then, and please have a good rest of the rest of the night. Let's move on to the next second prepare speaker. Crystal Rocket. Let me pull that email you sent me. Okay, Crystal would like to inspire Hilltoppers members to participate in the Fall Fest Challenge. Today, she will give recommendations to strengthen the club with the overall goal of helping the members achieve their personal goals and to help the club achieve distinguished club status by June 30th, 2020. Are you up for the challenge? Crystal Rocket.
Hilltoppers Toastmasters. I can't believe that we are already 3 months in our Toastmaster year. I am so excited to see what we have in store for the remainder of the year. And with that, I want to encourage you all for our Fall Fest Challenge that we came up with at the Downtown Club. At the end of this presentation, my question to you all will be, will you accept the challenge? The Fall Fest Challenge looks at where we are and where we want to be at the end. Stephen Covey mentioned it in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Begin with the end in mind. At the end of this year, we want to see all of you accomplish your personal goals. As a club, we want to see the club achieve distinguished club status. And for your club coach, Wes, we want to see him obtain his DTM. But first, we have to start with where we are. So let's think about the 9 weekly meeting roles, the main meeting roles for a Toastmasters meeting. We have Toastmaster, we have speakers, 2 speakers, hopefully, 2 evaluators, topics master, general evaluator, timer, and grammarian all-counter. I always like to combine the grammarian all-counter role because we're always looking for members to fill our roles in general. Let's eliminate one of those roles by combining the grammarian and counter together. I have Toastmaster and General Evaluator highlighted because those two roles take significant preparation throughout the week in order to make sure your meeting is a high quality meeting. Let's look at membership for Hilltoppers. Right now, it looks like you have pretty much 9 main members. We had Greta and Peggy join us last week and this week, and we want to see both of them join the club. So I put them as number 10. That means you need 5 more members to join by June 30th, 2022. As far as your DCP status, you have 1 goal met this year. Now, it is definitely possible by December for you to meet the membership goal of 4 members, as well as this check mark here. By December, 3 check marks is completely possible for Hilltoppers. What's your current process for planning meetings? Well, I went to Easy Speak and saw that you had your meetings pretty much planned out prior to today. At that time, when I had the original agenda for this presentation, not all of the meeting roles were present. So I'm not sure if the rest of them were assigned, meaning Kayler and Cheyenne. However, they are here for this agenda. And now that's what we have looked at for this presentation. Of course, we made adjustments in order to accommodate their inability to be here today. And we did that well at the beginning of the meeting. So what is the Fall Fest Challenge? Are y'all excited to hear what it is? Are you kind of nervous to hear what it is? We just don't know. So here it is. Roles assigned monthly per the rotating schedule by the BPM. I'll talk about that rotating schedule in a minute. Yes, I was against assigning roles. If you ask Marisa, I talked about this a couple of months ago when we were club coaches for downtown, because I felt like if you assign a role, it doesn't give people accountability in a sense because they were assigned it. They didn't really sign up for it. So I was a little against assigning roles, but now I'm for it, especially for the Fall Fest Challenge. Toastmaster of the Week is assigned monthly in advance. Why? That way, you know that you have a whole month to prepare an agenda that is complete ahead of time. If that means you have to ask other Toastmasters around the area or even someone that's not a Toastmaster to be a speaker, you have time to do so because you have been assigned a whole month in advance. Next week's roles reviewed at the end of the meeting by the presiding officer. Since the roles are assigned, we already know who's going to be the Toastmaster and all of the roles for the following week ahead of time. The Toastmaster of the Week sends the tentative schedule 1 week and 2 days in advance. This is so important because we are so busy. We want to have reminders. We need to have reminders. We probably might not want to, but they're definitely needed for our schedules. Toastmaster of the Week ensures they have host capabilities. Very, very important in case the main person that's over Zoom is not present. If that person can't be there, and you try to log on to Zoom, you won't be able to have the meeting because they don't have host capabilities. That just happened on Saturday at the Advanced Club. Toastmaster of the Week ensures 2 speakers are scheduled. Toastmaster of the Week follows up with speakers to confirm speech info by Thursday prior to the meeting. And the Toastmaster follows up with the Toastmaster and the General Evaluator to ensure the evaluation team is confirmed. Now, this sounds like a lot, but if you're only Toastmaster once a month, you're sharing the wealth. It's not something that you're doing every week, but it gives you the opportunity to take ownership of the meeting and ensure high quality meetings for Hilltoppers. The Toastmaster of the Week, I mentioned this already, scheduled to send the tentative schedule 1 week and 3 days in advance if they need to on a Friday. The day of the meeting is sent with the link to members and guests. And I think I'm actually, okay, yeah, that's a repeat. The GE ensures evaluation team is complete with 2 evaluators, timer, grammarian, and owl counter. And the GE confirms the team with the Toastmaster of the Week by Thursday prior to the meeting. Also, in order to ensure that the Fall Fest Challenge is actually accomplished, we got to have our executive meetings once a month. to monitor these goals. These are goals that we're doing. They're not something that's in stone. It's just a goal. It's something to help the club be more structured, but at the same time, allow everyone to improve their leadership skills as Toastmasters. Members to give speeches under pathways, members to try to invite a +1 weekly, and the club member to find their own replacement if unable to attend. So for example, if Cheyenne and Keeler knew that they weren't able to attend today, they could have had a replacement and multiple people wouldn't have to serve multiple roles. It's a good way to help the club continue to grow, as well as invite other Toastmasters from other clubs or other guests that could potentially be a Toastmaster in the future. And lastly, the VP gives status of educational goals, because at the end of this year or next year, we want to see you obtain the Distinguished Club status. So the Fall Fest Challenge, because Carrie served as Toastmaster today, Corey served as Toastmaster today, she gets to be timer next week if you adapted this schedule. And then it'll just be a rotating schedule from timer to the speaker the next week for her, evaluator on November 8th, general evaluator on November 15th, topics master on November 22nd, and then she would move on to speaker if you continued throughout the rest of the weeks for this year. Evaluator, grammarian, all-counter, and back to Toastmaster. This enables everybody to serve the leadership role in Toastmasters without having too much responsibility weekly. But it also ensures you have all of the roles met before the meeting. Am I sharing my screen? Okay.
Yes.
I saw a chat down there, so I was afraid that was going to be my comment. You can always add the joke master if extra members are present. For example, if you all add more members to your club, which you will do, you can always add joke master as a role. And then you can also add blocks at the end. That way you have 2 or 3 weeks where you don't serve a role at all, or you can be the backup in case somebody else can't particularly serve their role. But it gives time for everybody to take a break, gives time for the VPE to focus on you all's educational goals. And most importantly, it allows us all to improve by sharing the responsibility of organizing the Toastmasters meeting weekly. So I mentioned the path of one of the Toastmasters, but we have Olivia that can also be an example here. So I have a question. How many members does Hilltoppers need this year who are actively working pathways in order for you all to achieve Distinguished Club status? That's if goals 9 and 10 are met and 6 more members join. How many members do you all need to actually be working pathways to achieve DCP? Unmute your mic and answer it. How many members do you need?
You need 6 more. At least 6 more.
To achieve the educational part right here, you need 6 people.
Well, let me see. Got one. So the minimum is 5 goals, right? Overall.
Right. And you'll have this check mark, and then you'll have this check mark. You already have 3. So after you have those 3 met, how many members do you need to get at least the 2 here? What do you think? Working pathways.
Theoretically, you need only 4 members if they're actively working from the very start. I mean, if 4 members complete level 1, and then the number 2 and 3 level 2 awards was 2 members each, so that could still be the original 4. And then, okay. I mean, in theory, now that would mean all 4 would have to be starting from level 1 on their pathway and working continuously throughout the year.
Okay. So really the answer is 2. Only 2 members, which we hope all of you members will be working in pathways, but it's really 2. And how I said that is you have a check mark 1 already. Right here, you already have 4 of your officers trained from June to August. All of your officers, right, are going to be trained in December. So you're going to get that second check mark. You're going to have 2 of them already by December. So if you have 2 members actively working pathways, they're getting to level 2. So that's a check. Then hopefully they'll both get to level 3. That's another check. That's 4. And we only need really one of those 2 members to get to level 5. So I just say, I hope, you can see it's definitely possible, but it's up to you all to work the pathways, but at least the officers working pathways as examples for the rest of the club. And that's what I mentioned here, the officers and the club coach. But really, you only need 2 realistically for your club.
Okay.
So do you agree or disagree? And I know I'm over my time, but I'm going to make sure I finish this because it's so important. Do you agree or disagree with assigning roles or prefer the current method held by the club? One person, if you could, unmute your mic.
I like the idea of assigning roles. I know you said it doesn't give as much accountability because they get intrusive, but I think if we assign the role and then that person accepts it, because they still have to go on easy speed to accept the role, correct? And if they accept it, that gives them, I think it gives them some of that same accountability, and they know what their responsibility is or.
Okay, is there anyone that disagrees with the signing role? That please speak up. We would like to hear both sides. If you disagree.
I think most of the time I've been in the club, we have been assigning roles in Easy Speak. I believe Luke was doing it when he was president for each meeting, usually just one meeting in advance, though not for the entire month. And also everything that sounds like a good idea, and all of that can be done in Easy Speak. That's the beautiful thing about Easy Speak. If people will go in and use it, they can not just agree, but if something comes up, they can go back in and change their status. And that's a great central hub to keep up with what's going on. Instead of having to call people and try to email back and forth, it can all be done in Easy Speak.
Right. Definitely. The only thing would really be a change would be the finding your replacement if you couldn't make the meeting, and making sure that person that's Toastmaster or general evaluator is kind of checking on everybody and making sure they're ready. So if there wasn't any change, then we'll be doing the same thing that we normally do. And I've seen this quote and I love it. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Whereas some of the things we do actually works, but then if there's something that isn't working, we can make little adjustments to see if it improves the quality of the meeting. If we find that our meetings are not completely planned out ahead of time, we have to look at, did we actually plan? Failing to plan is planning to fail. So assigning meetings and making sure our Toastmaster is following up weekly and our general evaluator is following up weekly will help ensure the planning process is done. So this is just a couple of changes to the excellent idea, the excellent way you all are doing the club already by assigning roles and recessing. I think that is wonderful. The culture of this club is amazing. It's so inviting. That's why people come back. The Fall Fest Challenge just gives additional suggestions, recommendations that you can use if you would like to see if it improves the club. Of course, you can't control the things happen in life, just like we heard Peggy talk about last week. She didn't control that. She couldn't control that. That is okay. All we can do is have the courage to change the things we can and accept the things that we can't. So with that, fellow Toastmasters, Hilltoppers Toastmasters, this is the Fall Fest Challenge. Will you accept the challenge?
I accept.
Madam Toastmaster.
I have a question. I think Wes and I both have questions. Wes, your hand was raised before mine.
Sure. I couldn't see it because I was.
Of course, you were presenting.
Yes.
Yes, I have a question. Well, one Monday of the month, I'm hosting the coach training session. So that takes me out of the loop for that Monday. And also I belong to another club, which also meets on Mondays, and I haven't met with them for a long time.
Oh.
But I need to at least meet with them at least once or twice before the end of the year, at least once. But outside of that, I think the assigning rules is a fine idea. I just have to coordinate when I'd be available to accept a role.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great idea. It's a great presentation.
Well, you probably wouldn't be able to be in the rotation in that point. You can just come in when you can and be a substitute in, in case someone can't make it, or, come in to observe the club that way. But that way we won't they wouldn't put you in the rotation. So you won't have that, that pressure of trying to be there every week, because you are serving multiple roles. So that's definitely understandable. Definitely. So you just come when you can.
Right. So my question was, for example, I'm sorry, Wes, did I cut you off?
No, not at all. I'm finished. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Olivia.
Crystal, my question was, in theory, we're at the end of October, so we could start our roles. Let's just say this week we start assigning roles for the month of November.
Mhm.
When in November should we start our December? Maybe 2 weeks into November, or the third week of November, will we start assigning roles for December, or is there a criteria that you think works best?
Well, if you started it, if you wanted to adapt it, really the schedule's already done for next, because you only need a week to really plan the meeting. It just it'll be up to you all. What I created for the presentation is all the way up to November 22nd. I'll go back to that screen. Hold on, I'm not on, but it shows.
Okay, so you're saying we could just.
Yes, because you really need a week in advance to really plan a good meeting, in order for whoever's the Toastmaster to really, have time to check on everything, and make sure the team is in place, and for the speakers to create at least a week to get your speech together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it takes me at least a week, really more than that. You see the October 25th?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, there's Olivia. Yeah, it's you. And then because she just served as Toastmaster today, that would be her. It's just going down like that.
Okay.
Diane. So you're moving from Toastmaster to timer November 1st. You can start on November 1st and just skip all of this and do everything status quo for next Monday, or
No, I'm sorry.
adapt it. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm sorry. I missed that slide. I'm sorry. So yes, I understand. That's fine the way you have it. I thought that was just an example, but
Oh, it
yeah.
is. Yeah, it's just this whole presentation is up just in theory, just in theory.
Okay. No.
Let me stop sharing. Thank y'all for y'all's questions and feedback. I appreciate that.
Okay, I think that's it. Anyone else had any questions? Okay, the time is now 7:30, so technically we only have about 15 more minutes, but maybe we can do, Crystal, I would love to see one of those questions, since you said some of them are a little cattywampus. I would love to hear one of those. That's just me being silly. So if we could do maybe 2 or 3 quick table topic and questions, that would be great.
Thank you. I sure can. So the first person I'm going to ask, let's go with, everyone pretty much has a role. Wes, red or black? Red? Okay. You said red?
That's fine with me.
Okay, what page?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your choice.
Page? What page? Give me a number. Give me a number.
Page 8.
Okay. If you had to give up your favorite food forever, what is the minimum amount of money you would demand in return for that?
Atomics Master, that's a very interesting question. Actually, what I'm trying to do is lose about 20 pounds. There are a number of favorite foods that I like. Fortunately, they do not lot of them don't involve sugar. I like salads and coleslaw and tuna fish and that sort of thing. The minimum amount of money that I would give up, I really have no idea. I enjoy healthy foods, but I do digress and have ice cream, that sort of thing. I really don't have an answer for that. I'm really at a loss for words on answering that question. But I will say this.
Okay. Well,
What I try to do is, yes. No, what I try to do is incorporate exercise with diet. And when I get into a groove, for example, do 5K walks every day or 3 to 6 times a week, and watch my diet and stay away from sugar and carbs, it really makes a difference in weight loss.
okay.
Mhm.
Well, that is definitely true. So if apparently you don't have food that you really love because you're a healthy person. I see that. Now for me, you were gonna have to pay me to let go of my favorite food, which is lasagna. I
Aw.
need at least $1 million. Just kidding. But that's one. Well, thank you, Wes. All right, Donovan. Red book or black book?
Let's say red.
Okay, give me a number.
13.
19?
13.
13. Ooh. Okay, let me find a spooky one like Friday the 13th.
Oh, please. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was on mute. I'm sorry.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to ask this one. I don't know if you'll be able to. No, I'm not going to ask this. You might have a hard time with that one. Never mind. Okay, if you could be the character in any spy novel, who would you choose to be?
The question that I have given is, what character would I be in a spy novel? It's a tough question. I would probably have to say the hero of saving the beautiful girl or saving the princess. I would say that because I'm a underdog, sort of in a way, because I do have a disability, but that's not matter to me. Like, to me, for this, I would say I have a obstacle that I have to go beyond, and I shouldn't be afraid to go beyond that, to be able to do the extra thing or the extra mile, to be able to save the princess or save the or save the person who is trapped by enemy lines, just behind enemy lines. I'll risk myself to be able to save those who are being tortured or being suppressed, to be able to be a good person, but also to be the hero of that planet or of the kingdom. That's what I would say my character in a spy novel. Thank you. Back to you.
Oh, Donovan, you'll be like Sherlock Holmes saving the day. And that's the only Nancy Drew. That's the other person I was thinking of. You would be the hero. I love that. That's such a way we can get to know your heart and who you are as a person. Wonderful. All right, Madam Toastmaster, do you want me to ask one more? Or would you like to conclude Topics Master or table topics?
Well, Olivia said so I guess let's stick to what she said earlier. It's
Okay.
already 7:36.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Crystal. I thought your last name was Rocket. It was L Locket. The reason I thought your last name is R Rocket because your personality is always happy, enthusiastic, and so there's a rocket. So I mispronounced your last name. I'm sorry. It's
No problem. No,
platitude. It
no
is
problem.
platitude, but in Japanese, name reflect the personality. So that's really what I believe. And I'm sorry to mispronounce your last name.
No, you're
Crystal
fine.
Locket.
Thank you. Thank you. Fine.
I'm not a native English speaker, so let me excuse. So let's move on to the next portion or last portion of this meeting, evaluation. Let's start with the evaluator. Olivia, you're going to evaluate her speech, right?
Maurice
Yes.
is our general evaluator.
I'm sorry. That's right. I'm sorry.
Oh, no
Olivia,
problem.
evaluate. I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Okay, no problem, Carrie. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. At this, so you have, so Olivia has the speech evaluation, so I'll let right into it.
Okay, let's see, can I set my timer right quick? Reset. Let me go grab the speech and then I will start. Well, what do you know? Oh, there it is. Okay, I have the pleasure of doing an evaluation for Crystal. I put your speech title as Fall Fest Challenge, so you can correct me on that if I'm wrong. The speech time was 5 to 7 minutes. And for your general comments, I put you excelled at the PowerPoint, loved the show and tell. You were well-versed and energetic, just like what Carrie was just saying. You may want to work on changing the time for this speech. This was a power-packed presentation, so it definitely had to it will be definitely hard to do this in 5 to 7 minutes. So maybe next time, make it a 15-minute speech. It was well worth it. And although you realized you were over your time, you did not appear rushed. You still seemed very calm and engaging. So we thank you for that. To challenge yourself, I just really couldn't think of anything. So I can try to put something there, but I think your speech was amazing and well needed. And we'll move on to our point system. So for clarity, for spoken language, clear and easily understood, I gave you a 4. I don't think it can be much clearer than what it was, all things considered. A couple of times, either your computer or mine, I'm certain it was mine, I live out here in the boonies, blinked just a little bit. So I lost you, but such is the life of Zoom and World Wide Web. Vocal variety uses tone, speed, and volume as choose. I liked the way you were able to keep us engaged and corralled. I did see a difference in your voice at times, and it was definitely engaging for me. Eye contact, I gave you a 4 for that one. Eye contact, I gave you a 3. It's kind of hard to really give anything more than that, just simply because of the platform that we're working on. But I did feel like you were talking or looking at me most of the time. Gestures, uses physical gestures effectively. I gave you a 3 on that one. I think you spent most of the time trying to use your pointer and clicking on different things on the PowerPoint. So definitely there was not much time to use gestures, but again, I think it was wonderful for me. So comfort level, I gave you a 5 for this one. You appear comfortable with the audience. I felt like I was talking to a friend or a family member, or the conversation I would have over dinner with one of my girlfriends. So I can't imagine you could get much more comfortable or make the audience feel much more comfortable than what you did. So I gave you a 5 on that one. Your interest engages the audience with interesting, well-constructed content. I gave you a 4. connects with the audience, absolutely a 4. You paused, then you asked for answers to questions. So that always makes sure that everyone is not only listening on point with what you're saying, but also gives the audience a time to be involved, to be engaged, and to answer some of those questions. And it says the last one is use topic to inspire the audience. I gave you a 4 for that one. I just like the whole fall challenge. Fall, as everyone knows, autumn is my favorite time of the year. And I think you just took this. It was really encouraging and motivating for me. So overall, your speech was wonderful. Thank you very much. And back to you, Maurice.
All right, thank you, Olivia. Next, we'll have the Times Report. And again, I guess that is Olivia.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little iffy. You're welcome, Crystal. Let's see, Crystal, your speech was approximately 14 minutes and 50 seconds. Wes, I started counting you a little late, but I think you were about 2 minutes and 2 seconds. I had to count in my mind those first 15 seconds or so before I realized that I should have had my timer on. And Donovan, your speech was 1 minute and 56 seconds. Back to you, Maurice.
All right, thank you. At this time, we'll have the grammarian and all counters report with David.
Thank you, Maurice.
Oh.
Good evening, everyone. For the word of the day, platitude.
We forgot.
I did not hear anyone use it, but it is what it is.
Look at those eyes.
That's okay.
I did twice.
Did you use it?
I did
I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
twice.
Okay.
Make sure you get that
Carrie
second-
used it twice, so it is still what it is. But thank you, Carrie, for using it. I think we got so wrapped up in Crystal's speech that sometimes when exciting things are going on, it's easy to just forget about other things. I'm very much guilty of that, but that's okay. We were having a good meeting. Moving on to the all counters report. I think I just said all counters report. I had, let's see, I'll start with Peggy White's testimonial or his little speech. She did say, one time. I picked up on that, but otherwise it was clean. I did not hear any filler words. For Crystal's speech, Crystal was completely clean. I did not hear any ahs or uhs or filler words. I would like to point out that a couple of times she used so and she even used once, but they were all within the context of the speech. That's it, which those words can be confusing because so is not always a filler word, depends on how we're using it. But I did not detect any filler words from Crystal's speech. And Wes's speech or table topics was clean. I heard no filler words. Let's see, Donovan's table topic, I heard a couple of times, but it was very brief, just real quick like. And Olivia's evaluation of Crystal, I heard you use so inappropriately twice and once, but that's good for a 3-minute, especially evaluations, because those are kind of ad-libbing. You're going off the top of your head, and that was pretty clean, really. And that's probably a filler word there. And let's see, who else do we have? I think that covered everyone. I did not really detect any improper use of the English language. I'm not an expert on that, but nothing really stood out that was noteworthy. That is, I believe I covered everybody. So thank you, and back to you, Maurice.
All right, thank you.
Maurice, I want to give Donovan, my minutes for Crystal's evaluation was 3 minutes and 41 seconds. Thank you.
All right.
Back to you, Maurice.
All right, thank you. General evaluation for the meeting, we had a 5-minute recess, and then we got into it. Things kind of went slow, then things got on pace, but we had a good speech by Crystal and a good testimony by Peggy. And even though we're running late now, otherwise the meeting went okay. And I'll just end the general evaluation and I'll relinquish the lectern back to the Toastmaster care.
Thank you, Maurice. Do we have an educational review tonight? I don't think so. No educational
Marvin was
review.
gonna do one tonight, but we're gonna, this should be sensitive to everyone's time. We're gonna, he said, okay, we're doing it next week. So we're gonna postpone his to next week.
Okay, so we don't have an educational review. Okay, well, thank you so much everyone tonight. And I guess it was really, I'm so happy to have two speakers tonight. And then even last minute, Miss Peggy White joining the prepared speech, and I really enjoyed her speech. And also Crystal Lockett. It was a wonderful speech. Thank you so much. And also you work hard as a table topic master too. And Olivia, thank you so much. And timer and evaluator. Evaluator is actually hard for me because no preparation is very last minute things. But you did very well. And thanks again, everyone. And back to our president, Olivia.
Thank you very much, Carrie. And Donovan, I just wanted to say, I agree with Crystal. You have such a kind spirit, and to hear you talk about what you'd want to be, and you be the one to go in there and save the girl, the princess, that was just beautiful. And the fact that you called yourself an underdog, that's beautiful, to be humble. We know that you are not the underdog, but to have that humble spirit, it's a blessing to have that attitude. And I don't see you as having any disabilities at all. I think you have great opportunities to be a light to so many people. And since the first time I ever met you, I was just amazed. I even went back and told my daughter, because she came to one of the meetings when we were having in-person meetings, and I just was so amazed. You are an awesome person. And do you mind if I ask you how old you are, Donna?
I'm 22.
22, and then still so young, yet so mature, so well versed, so well spoken. And I don't know, maybe you just had some really good upbringing, but we thank you for being just who you are. And look, he's blushing. And Miss Crystal, we have to know before we log off, how's the bun in the oven?
She's a girl. Well, it's a girl. It's a girl. So I'm excited. I knew she was. I knew it was a girl because she was making me sick, and they say girls make you sicker. But I did want to quickly apologize for going over on my speech. You all, it was supposed to be an inspiring speech, but I feel like sometimes when I talk about Toastmasters, it's like I'm giving a set of rules, and that was not part of the speech. So if it sounded like a set of rules, Olivia, after this meeting, please let me know, because that means I did not accomplish the goal of the speech. I want to inspire. I just want to see the clubs grow. So that's all I'm here for. I'm sorry if I sounded like a drill sergeant, but I'm here to support you guys. Okay, sorry. That's it.
No, it was wonderful. I can go on and on and on, but I won't, just to be sensitive to everyone's time. But the speech was wonderful, much needed, and we appreciate it. I was definitely encouraged by it. So thank you very much, Crystal, for sharing. All right, you guys know my motto by now. If all minds are clear, we're gonna get out of here. Okay, guys, I will see you all next week. Crystal, I'll be in touch with you to see, can I go over, maybe you can give us at least that one page that you showed again on your PowerPoint, just so I can kind of have it to look at it. And I'm gonna print it out, make sure I got a real good idea, and I will talk it over with the rest of the team and see, can we get this into place right away? I'm excited about it. All righty. All right, guys, have a good evening.
All right, good night, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you, Crystal. It was
Thank
really good.
y'all.
Thank you. Good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Good to see
All right.
everyone.